Alrighty, welcome and thank you for tuning in to the Kona Companion podcast. Didn't roll off the tongue as well as I was hoping it would on the first episode, but we're one take Timmy in this, so you guys are going to hear me fumble through it. We're going to keep this rolling through all 720 some odd episodes of what's going on in the Naruto verse, so buckle in, you're about to start a pretty legendary entertainment experience. So, I've seen basically every episode of Naruto. I'm a huge fan. I can't get enough. So much so that I am starting a podcast so that I can find people to talk to about it. So, to kick things off, Season 1, Episode 1 is entitled Enter Naruto Uzumaki. And right off the bat, there's no theme song, just a narrator talking about an attack from a nine-tailed fox. And they're depicting this humongous red fox with nine tails, and it just doesn't make sense. And the narrator says that one shinobi fights this monster. And this shinobi is riding a giant toad that's smoking a pipe. And when he defeats the nine tails, he sealed him away in a human body. I don't understand why it's necessary. I don't understand why the guy can't just die. I'm certain they'll explain that throughout the series. But, at first glance, I don't understand why when you defeat a nine-tailed fox, you seal him away in a human body instead of just scrambling the old noggin. But we'll get to that eventually, maybe. We'll see. Now, they come in with the theme song. This just reeks of 80s energy. I simply cannot get enough. Naruto is running and laughing, and he's just got this general, mischievous demeanor about him. And it's revealed that he has painted all over some giant stone faces on the side of a mountain. And there are some authority people who are chasing him, and they are trying to catch him. They can't. And so they go and report to the Hokage. Now, at this point, you don't really know what a Hokage is. Literally, the first time you're hearing about it is when they say, we need to report this to the Hokage. Lord Third Hokage already knows what's going on when the guys bust in the room. And, he goes, I hope you aren't bothering me with some trivia, and don't tell me it's Naruto again. And so, with this statement, they're setting the series, and you can gather that Naruto is like a habitual prankster, right? Like he's done some silly stuff, and the authorities are after him. And when they can't catch him, they go to the figurehead of the authority system in this area, and he's immediately like, "Oh wow, you guys are dealing with Naruto." And they basically tell him that it was Naruto again, and that he climbed onto the giant stone faces, and he put graffiti all over the Hokage. And so at this point, you can gather that the giant stone faces that are on the side of the mountain are carvings of the Hokages. We've only met one. They've got a few up there. I don't know what's really happening quite just yet. What you can gather is that the Hokage is the boss hog. We'll leave it at that for right now. And they cut back to the chase between Naruto and the authorities, and Naruto avoids apprehension by hiding behind a sheet that looks like a fence. But moments before that, in the same frame, you see Naruto run by, leading the chasers away. And then Naruto drops the sheet. And so there was clearly two Narutos. There was no room for him to have dipped off and then came back around and hidden. He was there the whole time. They were chasing after a fake. And so maybe this is the first time we've seen him use shadow clones, or just clone jutsu in general. It seemed to work in that circumstance. He gets found by Aruka Sensei, my man. Everyone's going to come to know Aruka Sensei. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, so we won't go into him too much. Just know that he's an endearing character, and I personally love the shit out of Aruka Sensei. The next scene, Aruka has Naruto tied up in a classroom, and he's effectively scolding him in front of the rest of the class and telling him that He's failed the graduation test the last 2 attempts, and that he's messing up his 3rd chance coming tomorrow. Naruto kind of rumps and looks up and away, and Aruka, doing something that's actually a war crime, invokes group punishment on Naruto and makes the entire class review transformation jutsu. And the whole class just groans, and I think this moment's really sweet, right? They're all kids. It's very innocent and sweet. Sakura is the first one to go. She's going to be, a huge character in the show. You're going to get a very heavy dose of Sakura-chan. She transforms into Aruka perfectly, and as to be expected. She immediately looks to see if Sasuke saw how good a job she did, which is a perfect tee-up for Sasuke. Sasuke is another kind of big figure in the show, and he's just too cool for school, man. He doesn't even respond to Sakura. He walks up, transforms, and transforms back into his normal form and walks off and gets a passing grade, all without ever even saying a word. So, yeah, guy's got some real cool pants on. Up next is Naruto, but before he goes up, you get to see Ino and Shikamaru for the first time, and they're giving him a hard time about how they're always paying for his screw-ups. And this just further reinforces the idea that Naruto is a general screw-up, causing trouble for effectively everybody. Also, as he's working up, you get to see some interesting characters in the back. You see Shino, you see Kiba, and most notably, you get to see Hinata. Hinata's blushing and twiddling her fingers and pulling for Naruto. Clearly is, a love interest of Naruto's. Naruto is a love interest of hers, right? She is clearly infatuated to a degree. This fool Naruto transforms into a hot blonde with his sexy jutsu, and Aruka shoots blood out of his nose and falls backwards, and it is just pervy, beautiful, wonderful humor. Gotta love it. And man, Aruka yells at this fool, and his head gets so big. Like, his head is humongous, and it's so funny. The first time I saw it, I fell out of my chair. It kills me every time, and I still to this day don't understand what the fuck is sticking out of his nose. Right, he's got what looks like pieces of cotton or something bulging out of his nostrils. No idea what's going on there. Hop in the comments and give me your thoughts. Maybe we can start a discourse on something as silly as what's protruding from Aruka Sensei's nose whenever his head is really big, whenever he's yelling at Naruto. The next scene is Aruka supervising Naruto as he cleans off his graffiti from the Great Stone Faces. He proceeds to tell Naruto that you're not going to get to go home until every single drop of paint is cleaned off. Naruto responds effectively, so what? There's no one at home waiting for me. And this kind of, again, sets some more backstory for Naruto. There's a lot of kind of framing the series happening in this first episode. There's a lot that's being kind of communicated that they'll reinforce throughout the entire series, but effectively, this is your moment whenever you're first getting to realize that Naruto is effectively an orphan, doesn't really have literally doesn't have anybody at home. And this really, you could see it tugs at Aruka's heartstrings. And immediately after that exchange, Aruka offers to take Naruto out for ramen, the good stuff, when he finishes cleaning the faces. Naruto just perks right up. Literally can't get enough of that. Basically commends Aruka for giving him proper motivation and says he's going to have that cleaned up in no time. And at that point, we get to hear some of my absolute favorite sound effects in any cartoon that has ever existed, ever. He's like, I'm going to get it done. They go, soy, sabuya, ha-ta-ta-ta-ta. And it's so fucking funny, dude. I can't get enough of it. Every time they do this silly shit, it makes me just laugh like a child. And so you guys got to hear me do my best impression of it. Hopefully it made you guys laugh as well. At this point, Aruka and Naruto are just slurping down ramen, and Aruka starts to question Naruto about why he painted all over the stone faces, and this effectively tees up the first explanation of what a Hokage is. Naruto describes them as being known by everyone and that they are the greatest shinobi of their time, the best of the best, undefeated ninja champs. Naruto also points out the fourth Hokage as the one who defeated the nine-tailed fox and was the most amazing of them all. And this bears some awesome significance. You'll get to see. Naruto also paints, he talks about how dope the fourth Hokage is. And you hear it here first. Naruto is going to be greater than all of the other Hokage. He's going to be a ninja legend. No one will ever stop him. Everyone's going to have to look up to him and stop disrespecting him. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Naruto asks to try Aruka's headband on, and Aruka describes the significance of the headbands that you've been seeing throughout the series up until this point for the first time. Aruka tells Naruto you can only wear the leaf headband when you finally graduate from the academy and become a ninja. You've got to pass the test tomorrow. And so with that, you hopefully will develop a better understanding of what the academy is. It's effectively a ninja school, and he's taking a test to see if he's going to be able to be a ninja. So he's failed at becoming a ninja twice previous. And they cut to the swing. The swing. It's so significant. God bless that swing. Up next, Aruka is in the classroom full of students, and he's administering the test, and he tells everyone the test will be on the clone jutsu. And Naruto just has an immediate meltdown and proclaims, within his internal dialogue, that that's his worst technique, and he's never going to pass. And damn it, man, sure enough, homie makes a terrible clone, and can't even stand on its own. And Aruka fails him immediately. You fail. A character who Aruka reveals to be Mizuki Sensei suggests that because of Naruto's persistence, he should be given a pass anyways. But Aruka, sticks to his guns and says that everybody else who passed had to make at least 3 passable shadow clones, and Naruto couldn't even make one. So, that's life. The next scene is Naruto on the swing by himself from earlier, looking at everyone with their headbands, obviously outcast by himself, not part of the cool guys club. A couple of the girls in the class notice him and discuss amongst themselves that he was the only one to fail, and that it served him right. Somehow failing serves Naruto right. One of them goes on to say, just imagine what would happen if he became a ninja. After all, he's the boy who, and the other will go, shh. Shushes her real sharply. So they're talking about something that they're not supposed to talk about, or, who knows. But just in that moment, Lord Third appears and tells Aruka that they need to talk. And then immediately as that's happening, Mizuki Sensei appears next to Naruto like a knight in shining armor. He's just gleaming in the light. He's got a smile on. And, you could tell he's well-intended, right? And he whiffs Naruto off, and they watch the sunset and talk. Mizuki lets Naruto know that Aruka isn't being ugly by failing him, that he just wants him to be strong with all his heart, and that'll never happen if he goes easy on him. So, it's kind of a traditional case of tough love. You've got to be hard on him so that you can forge him into something strong. He also reveals a little about Aruka's backstory. So he tells Aruka's backstory, and he draws a little comparison between Naruto's story that he's experiencing and Aruka's backstory, saying that he's like you, no parents, no family. Naruto at that point expresses to Mizuki, how badly he wanted to graduate. It was so important to him. Now Mizuki lets out a little chuckle and tells Naruto that there's a secret that he's going to tell him. And it cuts away to Aruka laying in bed reflecting on what Lord Third had told him. Lord Third effectively reiterated what Mizuki Sensei had been saying to Naruto about how Aruka and Naruto had grown up in a similar way. While Aruka's laying in bed, he has a flashback to when he lost his parents, and he actually lost his parents while they were fighting the nine-tailed fox, defending the village. This is all tying in really rapidly. Aruka is startled by a banging on his door, and it's Mizuki. And when he answers the door, Mizuki tells Aruka that it's urgent and he needs to head to the Hokage's office ASAP because Naruto has stolen a sacred scroll of sealing. And the next scene is Naruto laying in the woods with a big scroll, and he's reading it aloud, and the first jutsu listed on the scroll is Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu. And he doesn't like that at all. He goes into a little fit and goes, not this again. Obviously, you'll remember that clone jutsu and transformation jutsu are jutsu that Naruto struggles with, and so obviously it's a little disheartening whenever you struggle with clone jutsu and you finally get this scroll that's supposed to help you, and the first thing on it is a jutsu that you don't think you're going to be any good at. Next, there's a crowd of shinobi gathered around the Lord Third, exclaiming about how this isn't just a prank, it's a really serious crime, and that Naruto has committed something that could endanger, the village, right? These are very powerful jutsu. They fall into the wrong hand, it could damage, the village and their way of life, and it's ultimately a very, very serious ordeal what Naruto has gotten himself into at this point. Lord Third seems to effectively agree. He demands Naruto brought before him at once and swipes his arm, and these fools dip so fast that they create a wind gust that rustles up all the dirt around and blows the Hokage's garment around. And these fools just are obviously not playing. These fools dip so fast that they made a wake. And at this point, they show everyone out looking for Naruto, and Mizuki Sensei is in his gear running looking too. And they allow us to hear Mizuki's internal dialogue. And at this point, it's revealed that since he's told everyone about what Naruto did, he now has an opportunity to eliminate Naruto, and everyone will be glad that Naruto is gone. And he can also grab the scroll and use it for his own purposes. So it appears at this point that he's going to take advantage of the situation, roll with the punches, and take the scroll and dip off somewhere and pursue his own ends. Next is Aruka finding Naruto and telling him it's all over, right? Like Aruka has finally got Naruto. He's telling him, you're in trouble, effectively. And Naruto just kind of laughs and tells Aruka that he'd caught up to him so fast and that, he wasn't really expecting that, but that effectively Aruka's pursuance wasn't bad. And continues laughing and acting like, he isn't in the middle of being caught in a criminal act, right? He's clearly naive to the sincere seriousness of the situation. Naruto explains his master plan, which, he responds to Aruka because Aruka can see that Naruto has been out there practicing, and he's just kind of taken aback by the whole situation, right? He's thinking that he's coming out here to get this kid who's doing some bad stuff, and the kid's literally out here training to try and do better, and he's just kind of taken aback by it all at once. Naruto explains the master plan. He's going to show Aruka the badass new jutsu he learned. Aruka's going to pass him from the ninja academy and everything's going to be okay. Very simple plan. I learned badass new jutsu. I show you badass new jutsu. You pass me. I'm now a ninja and everybody's happy. And he goes on to say, that's the way it works, right? Anyone who learns a new jutsu from the scroll passes. And Aruka's clearly, again, taken further aback by this and asks Naruto where he got that notion. And Naruto, happily proclaims that it was Mizuki Sensei who told him about it. Mizuki had told him where to find the scroll and had told him where this particular training ground was. In that moment, Aruka pauses and wonders about Mizuki. It cuts to a cool little scene where it pings Mizuki in from the side. And suddenly, kunai, the little triangle-ish weapons that the little daggers that they hold and fight with and throw, a whole bunch of them just come flying in out of nowhere, and Aruka shoves Naruto out of the way, and Aruka gets stabbed by multiple of the kunai. And Mizuki presents himself and demands Naruto give him the scroll. Aruka explains how important the knowledge in the scroll is, and how Mizuki used Naruto to get his hands on the scroll, and how he intends to pursue his own goals with it, and that he can't let Mizuki get the scroll. Mizuki effectively calls Aruka a liar and that Naruto should give him the scroll, and proceeds to explain about a decree from 12 years ago that kept anyone from telling Naruto about the Nine-Tailed Fox spirit sealed inside of him. So now he's revealed that the Nine-Tail, who was literally the very first thing we saw on the screen that was destroying the village, has actually been locked away inside of Naruto. So this is a big, big reveal. He proceeds to go on to do his best to convince Naruto that all of his social troubles are rooted in the continual deception that the village has, shrouded his life in, and that everyone effectively hates him just for being alive because he is the nine-tailed fox incarnate who caused so much death and destruction before, and that he will never be accepted in the village, and that even Aruka really hates him. While this is happening, Aruka is having a flashback to the conversation between him and Lord Third, where Lord Third is doing his best to help Aruka empathize with Naruto, and that basically Naruto acts out for the sake of being noticed at all, because he gets no attention ever. He just wants to be seen. As this happens, Mizuki throws a giant ninja star at Naruto, an undoubtedly fatal blow for someone Naruto's size. Aruka yells for him to get down, and he yet again takes the proverbial bullet for Naruto and catches the giant ninja star directly in the back. Naruto looks up at Aruka as Aruka literally drips blood and tears onto his face and asks him why. And Aruka proceeds to tell him, because we're the same. He explains that his parents died and he felt forgotten and alone. His grades fell. He became a class clown to feel seen. And he said literally, he just wanted to be seen and for people to know his name. He said after a while his antics weren't enough, so he had to do crazy things, and he inevitably paid for it, and it was very hard. And at this point they're depicting, Aruka in like an asylum as a younger man. And so obviously, Aruka has experienced not only trouble at Naruto's level, but also experienced the type of trouble that Naruto is trending in the direction of, and trying to warn Naruto how hard it is, and also empathizing with him on the most human level. Aruka said that he knows Naruto feels lonely and it hurts inside, and he could have been there for him more, and that he'd let him down, and that he could have been there for him more, and that no one should have to suffer that much, and no one should have to be alone like that. And meanwhile, this asshole Mizuki's literally proclaiming with a chuckle not to make him laugh, and doubles down on Aruka hating Naruto and just literally saying whatever he feels like he needs to in order to get Naruto to agree to give him over the scroll. And basically, Mizuki's whole plan, or Mizuki's whole pitch is, Aruka's been lying to you about the nine-tailed fox spirit. Everything that he's saying now is a lie. You can't trust him. Trust me. I'm the guy who's telling you the truth. Naruto dips stage left at this point. He's obviously dealing with, a tremendous conflict internally, and he just runs. He just takes a run for it to get out of there, to gather himself, or, whatever. I can't go into the reason of why Naruto does what Naruto does, but the fact of the matter is that he makes a run for it. Mizuki drops down from a tree and talks shit about how Naruto is a beast, and he's going to use the scroll to take revenge by destroying the Leaf Village. Aruka refuses this offering and throws the giant star that was in his back at Mizuki. Mizuki avoids the attack and calls Aruka pathetic, and says that he's going to go get the scroll from Naruto, deal with Naruto, and come back and finish Aruka later whenever he's got more time. The next thing that we see is Lord Third chilling with a literal crystal ball. This is pretty neat. I had no idea that crystal ball technology was a thing in the Narutoverse, so now we all know. And he's quoted saying, "This is not good." Mizuki has a big mouth, and basically goes on to explain that tampering with the scroll could weaken the seal holding the Nine Tails energy inside of Naruto. And this could potentially lead to him unleashing the beast within him. That's ultra bad news, obviously, right? Like the thing that kicked off the entire series was a nine-tailed fox attack, so we don't need that. Aruka catches up with Naruto and tells him that everything Mizuki has said is a lie, right? So now they're both just saying that each other are liars. And Aruka catches up to Naruto, tells Naruto that everything Mizuki has said is a lie, and to hand over the scroll because Mizuki is headed for him and the scroll in the current moment. In this moment, Naruto and Aruka collide midair while they're both on the ground, kind of gathering themselves. Aruka asks, "How did you know? How did you know it was me and not Aruka?" And as he says that, he transforms into Mizuki. And Naruto laughs, and as he laughs, he transforms into Aruka and proclaims, "Because I'm Aruka." and the screen pans revealing that Naruto is hiding off to the side. So he's literally in earshot of all this that's going on. Mizuki proceeds to tell Aruka that he can't see it, but that Naruto is just like him, and that Naruto will use the scroll for his power and his vengeance, and that's how beasts are. And Aruka responds, "You're right." Obviously, Naruto hears this, and it just guts him, right? He's in the middle of this, internal conflict, and, his sensei is basically saying that, you're right, Naruto's a monster. And Naruto immediately feels heartbroken and has an entire internal dialogue about how Aruka never really loved him or believed in him. Right as soon as Naruto kind of has his epiphanous internal dialogue about how Aruka never really cared about him, Aruka proclaims that is how beasts are, but that isn't how Naruto is. He's nothing like that. He's Naruto Uzumaki of the village hidden in the leaves. And this just, again, just means the world to Naruto, right? He's only ever wanted to feel accepted, and his sensei Aruka just proclaimed that, he's one of us. And so Naruto is just crying his eyes out, snot dripping, the whole 9 yards. And Mizuki is so disgusted by the display that he decides to go ahead and finish off Aruka now instead of waiting for later. He starts spinning his giant ninja star around his hand and starts running directly towards Aruka. And Aruka has a moment where he accepts his fate, right? He's even quoted saying, "This is it." And right at the last moment, Naruto comes in with a flying knee to the face, a la Jorge Masvidal, to save the day. And Mizuki tries to play it off, but Naruto definitely got that full with a good one. Mizuki goes to say, Naruto goes on to say that if you ever lay a hand on my sensei, I'll kill you. And the guitar solo drops. And this is like the climax of the episode, right? It's finally worked itself up to the point where there's a fight. There's, been an emotional growth moment. There's been the fight. And it's all coming to a head right here. And Naruto has entered himself into the fight and is going to kill this fool if he puts his hands on his sensei. And it's a sincere moment, and it gets your blood pumping. And after an exchange with Mizuki, Naruto busts out the new jutsu he learned, the Shadow Clone Jutsu. This Shadow Clone Jutsu, so palatable. And homie busts out like a cool 1,000 solid clones that aren't even an illusion, right? These dudes got real mass to them. And, even Aruka, when he's laying on the ground, all beaten and battered, takes the time to admit to himself that Naruto has mastered a super advanced jutsu. And just the sight of this many Narutos sets Mizuki on his ass, and Naruto proceeds to jump him with 1,000 Narutos. He stands over a defeated adversary and kind of chuckles and rubs his hair and apologizes to Aruka for getting a little carried away. All Aruka can think is how utterly badass this kiddo is. He even admits he's starting to believe Naruto just might surpass all the previous Hokage. He just might do it. At this point, all of the shinobi are gathered in the village clamoring about how nobody can find Naruto or the scroll, and Lord Third comes and lets everybody know that everything's okay. Right? Tells everybody go home. Aruka has Naruto close. Aruka has Naruto close his eyes because he has a surprise for him. And when Naruto opens his eyes, Aruka's taken off his goggles and put his ninja headband on in replacement. Let's fucking go. And tells him, congratulations, you graduate. And to celebrate, I was surprised, we're going to go out for ramen tonight. And obviously Naruto smiles and gives him just the biggest hug. Tremendous embrace. He's finally actualized on this goal that he's obviously been working on now for 3 years, and he just proved himself in the most sincere way. And his sensei has validated him, right? You're now a shinobi, and it's a big moment for Naruto. He embraces his sensei, and it's a really beautiful moment. And the episode concludes with them two, hugging, and Iruka's thinking to himself, Naruto, this is only the beginning. The road gets tougher now that you're a ninja. But if I told you that, I guess it would ruin the moment. So I'll tell you later over ramen. And with that, you just kicked off the greatest entertainment adventure of your life. There was a lot of really neat stuff that happened there. There was a lot of setting the stage, as it were, for the entire series, right? A lot of the key ingredients that guide Naruto throughout his decision-making processes have already been defined, right? You understand that he's a loner. You understand his ambitions to become the greatest Hokage ever. You understand that he's effectively an orphan with nobody. You understand that he's got an awesome bond with his sensei Aruka, and that they're able to empathize with one another in a unique way. So they have a really strong bond. Their bond protecting one another is ultimately what got them through this crazy circumstance. And it's ultimately just a really beautiful deal, man. I love it. I can't wait to go over episode 2 with you guys. Let me know what you think about what I have to say and how I go over the show. And any feedback would be greatly appreciated. And participate in the comments. Let's build a community. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to have discourses with y'all about what's really going on here, right? Let's all talk about it. Let's all be friends. So thank you again. I am Joshua. I am your Konoha companion, and I'm really looking forward to the next 700 some odd episodes of this together. Thank you so much, and have a good one.